Welcome back, sports fans! Fasten your seatbelts because we are diving headfirst into a breaking story that has completely obliterated the boundaries of the scoreboard and exploded into a full-scale cultural phenomenon. If you follow the professional tennis circuit, you are already well versed in the current hierarchy of titans dominating the tour names like Swiatek Sabalenka and the powerhouse Coco Gauff. But if you have been doom scrolling through your news feeds for the last 10 days, specifically watching the absolute anarchy spilling out of Melbourne and surging across the Indian Ocean, you know the script has flipped. That energy has now washed up on the shores of the Arabian Gulf, and the most volatile, dangerous element in tennis right now is not a ranked number 1 or a decorated veteran with a trophy cabinet full of silverware. It is a 20-year-old left-handed dynamo from the Philippines who has single-handedly forced the Middle Eastern elite to shred their operational playbooks and frantically rewrite their logistics in real time. We are, of course, talking about the absolute juggernaut that is Alexandra Eala. Let me be clear that breaking news banner scrolling across the bottom of your screen is not hyperbole, it is a warning. The entire region is currently reeling in genuine disbelief. Her arrival was nothing short of chaotic, but her status is now undeniable. She is a bona fide certified global sensation. Tonight we are going to strip away the sensationalist headlines to expose the tangible crisis of popularity that is currently paralyzing Abu Dhabi. But first, let's address the sheer magnitude of the shockwave. To truly grasp why security teams across the Emirates are currently on red alert, we have to rewind the tape to the seismic tremors that just shook the foundations of Australia. Eala's campaign at the Australian Open 2026 was not just a standard tournament appearance, it was a demographic tidal wave. It represented a catastrophic failure of planning because organizers completely underestimated the monster they were dealing with. They looked at the draw, saw a qualifier ranked world number 49, and shoved her onto court 6, a tiny outer venue. The result was absolute unmitigated bedlam. A massive sea of fans draped in the Filipino national colors of blue, red, and yellow choked the arteries of Melbourne Park until the security perimeters simply disintegrated under the pressure. Gates had to be slammed shut and locked, leaving thousands of furious ticket holders stranded outside, wondering why their all-access passes had suddenly become worthless pieces of paper. The footage of that crowd roar and energy rivaling a Grand Slam final on Rod Laver Arena sent tremors through the entire sporting industry, and now that same human tsunami has crashed onto the shores of the UAE. This brings us to the absolute mayhem of her arrival, a period marked by a blinding blizzard of rumors and frantic speculation regarding her next move. The big question was, would she even play? Was she too battered and bruised from the physical toll in Melbourne? But the real question wasn't about her health, it was about whether the Middle East infrastructure could actually contain the madness she brings with her. Insiders at the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open are telling us they are literally tearing up their security manuals and rewriting crowd control strategies overnight, just hours before she is set to take the stage. They reviewed the viral footage from Down Under, and to be quite frank, they are absolutely petrified of a sequel happening on their watch. The confusion arises because this infrastructure is built for polite applause, champagne sipping, and orderly queues, not for a passionate nationalistic army arriving by the thousands to scream for their own. We have moved far beyond the realm of a girl hitting a fuzzy yellow ball over a net. This is a full-blown cultural movement. When Eala lands, the city's pulse changes rhythm, and ticket inventory evaporates in a matter of hours. As security demands skyrocket to unprecedented levels, our deep dive tonight ignores the mechanics of the forehand and the serve to focus on something much larger. We are dissecting the sheer force of the Eala shock. We are investigating how a disciplined student from the Rafa Nadal Academy in Quezon City morphed into the most volatile variable in Middle Eastern sports history. We are going to break down the mass hysteria that erupted the exact second her boots hit the tarmac at the airport terminal. We will analyze the absolute scramble as fans, airport staff, and officials alike were caught up in the frenzy of her touchdown. We will look at how the Arab Tennis Federation and the global press have been forced to elevate her to headline status, instantly placing her right next to heavyweights like Belinda Bencic, and we will explain exactly why. Despite bowing out early in Melbourne, she remains the undisputed conversation starter of the entire hemisphere. The region is bracing for impact, and the box office has already been completely cleaned out. The confusion has finally crystallized into one hard, undeniable truth. The phenomenon has arrived, and it is deafening. Do not change that channel. This is the deep dive, and to truly understand the gravity of the situation unfolding in Abu Dhabi, we have to turn back the clock. We need to explain why a tennis player is being received with the same frantic energy and security protocols usually reserved for visiting heads of state or global pop superstars. For decades, the desert swing through Abu Dhabi, Doha, and Dubai has been the exclusive playground of the established aristocracy. It is a circuit that markets itself on opulence, precision, and hosting the creme de la creme. They built their entire brand identity on living legends, Federer, Djokovic, Serena Williams, names that scream prestige and luxury. Those icons constructed the reputation of desert tennis, but in 2026, that script has been completely shredded. The vibe has swung violently from prestigious calm to raw, unfiltered passion. This is a seismic shift driven entirely by the ascent of Eala. Let's discuss this chaotic arrival. For the past 48 hours, the digital landscape across the Emirates has been absolutely electric with rumors. Aviation tracking apps were refreshing constantly while the arrivals hall at Zayed International swelled with supporters desperate for a single glimpse of the star. And for what? Simply because nobody actually knew if she would land in time or what physical condition she would be in when she finally did. Do not forget, she is fresh off a punishing, if brief, run in Melbourne, followed by a lightning-fast stopover in Manila before jetting straight to the Gulf. Quiet conversations happening behind the scenes suggested she was on the verge of pulling out of the tournament completely. Speculation ran rampant that the crushing emotional burden of her Australian Open exit, where she broke down in tears, devastated by the thought of disappointing her fans, would demand a hiatus. However, the moment the verified update flashed across the screens announcing her wheels down status in Abu Dhabi, uncertainty turned into full-blown action. The Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open directors, having witnessed the pandemonium in Melbourne firsthand, played a card that nobody saw coming. They refused to treat her as merely another name on the roster. Instead, they anointed her the absolute centerpiece of the entire event, a shocking decision that dominates our headlines today. Just look at the promotional picture here. This is a WTA 500 tournament stacked with heavyweights and decorated Grand Slam title holders. Yet despite that massive star power, all the promotion, the hype, and the electricity are orbiting a girl ranked 49th in the world. It flies in the face of traditional tennis wisdom, where you typically build the brand around the #1 seed or the defending champion. However, this region understands a truth the rest of the globe is only just beginning to grasp regarding the Eala phenomenon. Let's break it down. What truly drives this intense regional obsession? Why is the reaction so visceral, so incredibly raw? To understand that, you have to peel back the layers of the Gulf's demographic landscape. The United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia are home to millions upon millions of overseas Filipino workers. For decades, this massive diaspora has been the silent engine driving the region's infrastructure and development. Yet, for all their contributions, they have been starving for a legitimate sporting icon they can cheer for in person. Right here on the ground, they helped build. Sure, Manny Pacquiao is a certified legend, but his battles were waged in far-flung arenas like Las Vegas or Macau. Eala is different. She is physically present. She is competing in their backyard, standing as a tangible validation of their community's existence. The second she steps onto that hard court in Abu Dhabi, the mission transcends the pursuit of ranking points or statistics. She is shouldering the aspirations of every nurse, engineer, architect, and service worker stationed across the Gulf. That is a level of pressure cooker intensity that most 20-year-olds could not even fathom, let alone manage. This is where the initial surprise evolves into the most compelling storyline in sports right now. The big question remains, does she possess the mental fortitude to survive it? The Australian Open in Melbourne taught us that the Eala Army, as her legion of fans is affectionately known, can be a double-edged sword. Down under, that deafening roar initially rattled her opponent, Alicia Parks. But as the match wore on, the weight of those expectations shifted squarely onto Eala's shoulders. Every unforced error triggered a massive collective groan of despair from thousands of spectators. A simple missed serve was not just a point lost on the scoreboard, it felt like a full-blown national catastrophe. While the dead silence during her struggles was crushing, she is importing that exact emotional volatility to Abu Dhabi. The real shock for the Middle Eastern hosts will be the sheer unbridled energy in the stands. Historically, tennis in the Emirates has been a refined, polite affair. Think respectful golf claps and disciplined silence between points. When Eala takes the stage tomorrow, expect that traditional decorum to be completely obliterated, replaced by the raucous chanting and intensity of a football stadium. We are predicting a total cultural takeover of the Zayed Sports City International Tennis Center. Tournament officials are reportedly scrambling right now, torn between enforcing traditional tennis quietude or embracing this wild new atmosphere. How do you hush the very crowd that is paying for the seats? Do you really want to stifle the electricity that is blasting your tournament's highlights across the internet? This is the specific brand of disruption Eala introduces. She forces the sport to evolve, to crank up the volume, and to accept a healthy dose of chaos. Shifting focus to the actual tennis, the performance metrics simply cannot be ignored. We label her a global phenomenon not merely for the fandom, but for her steep trajectory on the court. 2025 was the year potential exploded into kinetic reality. Witnessing her take down Iga Swiatek in Miami was a moment that coaches around the globe are still dissecting to this day. That victory was absolutely no accident. It was a calculated, systematic dismantling of a top-tier opponent. It demonstrated that her left-handed forehand, forged in the fires of the Rafa Nadal Academy, possesses the spin and weight to bully the world's elite, a feat she chased with gold at the SEA Games in Thailand. While cynics tried to brush that off as a minor regional win, they were dead wrong. The intensity of battling local favorites on their home turf was immense preparation. Bearing the flag there served as the ultimate dress rehearsal for the cauldron she is about to enter in the Middle East. She swept through that tournament without dropping a single set, displaying a ruthless streak we had not seen before. Consequently, her arrival in the Gulf brings a shock to the system that is as much about hard competition as it is about cultural impact. Locker room titans like Elena Rybakina and the top seeds are not looking at a number 49 ranked opponent anymore. They see a lethal wild card backed by the ferocity of a home crowd. To face Alexandra in Abu Dhabi is to effectively walk into a hostile away game, and it does not matter where you hail from. She is a psychological disruptor sowing absolute chaos throughout the bracket. Now let us get real about the obstacles she faces off the court. Insiders claim the Eala camp is running a military-grade schedule to manage her time. That messy headline about confusion, it likely stems from the total radio silence enforced the second she touched down. She used to be an open book at these events, but for this trip she is surrounded by an ironclad security bubble. Her squad, likely guided by those masterminds at the Nadal Academy, realizes that the Middle Eastern spotlight can choke you out if you let it breathe. The goal is laser focused, but shielding her has ticked off the local reporters, sparking all these mixed messages. Fans are asking Alex why skip the airport mic time. The reason is straightforward. She did not fly in for a photo op, she is hunting a trophy. After that crushing loss in Melbourne earlier this year, she knows she has to go the distance. It is time to turn all that buzz into silverware. This desert backdrop is the ideal setting for her redemption arc. Abu Dhabi's Deco turf plays medium slow, fitting her style like a glove and buying her time to unleash that southpaw cannon. That extra split second lets her craft rallies mirroring the strategy of her mentor and hero Rafa Nadal. If she rides the wave of fan enthusiasm instead of drowning in it, she is looking at a serious shot at the championship title. However, if the glare of the spotlight blinds her or the chaos breaks her concentration, she might be packing her bags early again. That fragile balance is exactly why the atmosphere is so thick and why the whole region is watching with bated breath. Bringing this breakdown to a close, let us look at the stakes for the next 7 days. That viral banner claiming the region is shocked. Well, they ought to be stunned because they are watching the genesis of a completely different breed of athlete. Traditionally, tennis icons were forged in Western academies and sold on prestige. Alexandra Eala stands for where the game is going next. A horizon that is truly international, distinctly Asian, unapologetically loud, and fueled by raw, unfiltered passion. All the gossip about her landing will evaporate the second that first serve goes airborne. The scramble for seats, the headlines, the logistics, it is all just static. The real broadcast, the magic happens inside the white lines. We are standing by to see if Alex can transmute the pressure of this new fame into pure court domination. We will find out if this desert oasis is prepared for the uprising she is bringing to the game. To the Filipino community in the stands, this is not just a tournament bracket. It feels like the tennis universe is finally coming home. It is the ultimate trial for the next generation. We will be tracking every ace, every return, and every plot twist of this drama. The waiting is done. The fog is lifting. The show is on. Now over to you guys. Are you on the ground in Abu Dhabi? Did you catch the airport madness, or are you clutching a lucky pass for round 1? Sound off in the replies down there and make sure you smash that subscribe button. We are dedicated to bringing you exclusive point-by-point analysis of Eala's thunderous performance, which is currently sweeping through Melbourne Park like a desert storm at the 2026 Australian Open. Until we return with more updates, make sure you keep your eyes locked on the court action. This absolute hurricane is